Around 1900 BC, in the ancient city of Nippur in what is now southern Iraq, someone wrote a story in clay. It survived. We have it. It is called The Descent of Inanna, and it is the second oldest afterlife narrative in recorded human history, written roughly 200 years after Enkidu's vision in the Epic of Gilgamesh, and more than 1,000 years before Plato wrote down the story of air. It begins with these words: "From the great above, she opened her ear to the great below." From the great above, the goddess opened her ear to the great below. From the great above, Inanna opened her ear to the great below. Inanna was the queen of heaven and earth, the most powerful goddess in the Sumerian pantheon. She wore the crown of the steppe on her head, around her neck, lapis beads, on her chest, a breastplate, on her wrist, a gold ring, in her hand, the measuring rod of power. And she wore the royal robe. She was everything. Then she descended to the underworld.
I, Inanna, queen of heaven and earth, speak these words. From the great above, I opened my ear to the great below. I who wore the crown of the steppe, the lapis beads, the breastplate, the gold ring, the measuring rod of power, and the royal robe, I chose to descend. Before I left, I gave instructions to my faithful servant Ninshubur. If I have not returned in 3 days and 3 nights, go to the temples, beat the drum for me, tear at your eyes, your mouth, your thighs, dress yourself like a beggar and plead for me before the gods. Then I descended. There were 7 gates. At the first gate, the guardians stopped me. By order of my sister, Ereshkigal, queen of the dead, remove my crown. I asked, "What is this?" The gatekeeper replied, "Be satisfied, Inanna. The ways of the underworld are perfect. They may not be questioned." At the second gate, my lapis beads were taken. At the third, my egg-shaped beads. At the fourth, my breastplate. At the fifth, my gold ring. At the sixth, my measuring rod of power. At the 7th gate, my royal robe. Naked, bowed low, stripped of every symbol of who I had been, every marker of power, beauty, and identity removed, gate by gate, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but me. I entered the throne room of Ereshkigal. The 7 judges of the underworld, the Anuna, surrounded me. They fastened on me the eye of death. They spoke the word of wrath. They uttered the cry of guilt. They struck me. I was killed, turned into a corpse, a piece of rotting meat, and hung on a hook on the wall. 3 days and 3 nights passed.
Above, in the world of the living, Ninshubur kept her promise. She went to the gods. She wept. She tore at herself. She begged. Most of the gods refused to intervene. They said Inanna had chosen this. She had craved the great below. She who receives the ways of the underworld does not return. Finally, Enki, the god of wisdom, keeper of the food of life and the water of life, agreed to help. He sent 2 small beings created from the dirt under his fingernail, neither male nor female, carrying the food of life and the water of life. They descended. They found Inanna hanging on the hook. They sprinkled her 60 times with the food of life. They sprinkled her 60 times with the water of life. Inanna arose. She came back up through the 7 gates. At each one, her garments and symbols were restored to her, gate by gate, piece by piece, until she emerged from the final gate, crowned, robed, powerful, alive, back into the great above. Modern near-death experiencers describe stripping away, quite consistently, the sense of shedding the ego, the identity, the body, everything you thought you were, until something smaller and realer remains underneath. Your authentic self. The Sumerians encoded a similar journey: descent, stripping, death, restoration, return, in their most important myth.